Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm reviewing a very affordable pen from Jinhao, which is a Chinese pen manufacturer. It is this pen, which is the Jinhao 519. This is the coffee brown version, and it is a very plastic pen, and it comes in a range of colors. I'm just going to talk about parts of features, do a little size comparison, writing sample, all that kind of stuff. Let's get started. So on the top, we have this matte black plastic disc, and then the cap is cylindrical down to the little step down onto the barrel. And then the barrel is cylindrical to a little sort of like injection molded ending there. This is obviously an injection molded pen, and like a lot of plastic pens are, and that is quite okay. And Jinhao make no statements otherwise. The branding of the pen is here on the barrel. It is put there as Jinhao, and then the clip is this sort of like leaf or feather clip that is cut in to the cap and secures, I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but secures with like a little screw at the end there. The screw appears to be plastic, as all the surrounding bits of it do, so things like corrosion might not be an issue if that is the case. I just couldn't quite tell. So it is a snap cap pen, and it's a very nice snap. It feels secure. It feels nice. There's a bit of sort of a resistance there to spin it, all that kind of stuff. It's very pleasant. When you uncap it, it reveals this section. Now there is no step down, which is nice because it is a snap cap, so it's comfortable in the hand. It's got these sort of slight sort of triangular grip because of these two cut out facets on the side of the grip section, which have these little grooves in it, which actually is a really great asset to stopping the pen feeling slippery in your hand. It's got this small steel nib branded with Jinhao and F for fine. It is a Lamy style, Lamy size nib, and for those playing along at home, while I haven't done this, I believe it is possible to put a Lamy nib on this pen if you desired so. And it's got a simple sort of Lamy style plastic feed there. The pen unscrews, the barrel unscrews, and it comes with a converter. It's a nice sturdy converter, branded once again with Jinhao. It's actually a very pleasant converter to use. And a pen like this highlights a problem I have with a number of other pens, including the pens from Lamy, which this pen has several features like the faceted grip section and the nib that are similar to Lamy Safari and things like that, and even like bits of the profile of the pen are similar to a Lamy Safari. These are the pens that don't come with converters, and in fact the price of a Lamy converter is more than the cost of this pen in total, and this pen comes with a converter. Now, I'm not saying they're made in the same quality or the same quality plastics or workmanship or anything like that. It is just an interesting little bit of information. So that's really all this pen is. As I said, it comes in a range of colors. It is mainly available through websites like eBay and retails for under $5 Australian. So a really good value pen, and you'll see from the writing sample it writes well. It doesn't come with an ink cartridge or anything like that, so it does come with a converter, so you can use bottled ink, and that is what I have done here. And as I said, it's a good converter. So and Jinhao can take standard international cartridges, although their converters will not fit in standard international pens, which is a shame because, for a pen, if you could buy a pen for $5, take the converter out, put it in a pen where the converter would normally cost $10, it seems like a good deal, but unfortunately that is not possible with these ones. But comes with a converter. It's not a bad pen at this price. So the basic size comparison there with the Lamy Safari, you see it's shorter than the Safari, but in terms of the girth and the profile, it's not dissimilar. Uncapped, we see it's still shorter, and we see the similarities in the nib there, and also the capping mechanism, and the fact that it has a slightly triangular grip, not as pronounced as the Lamy, and to my hand, it's actually a touch more comfortable. Yes, the Jinhao 519 does post, and it posts quite nicely, securely. It does everything it should do, still slightly shorter than the Lamy Safari, but a good length in the hand. So what are the dimensions of the Jinhao 519? Well, it's 135 millimeters when it is capped. It's 123 when it is uncapped, so it's an okay length. Sort of fairly average for most pens like this. Slightly short distance off the page given the fact that it's a short nib, but that's okay. Posted it's 156 and it's very good length posted. The cap not having a sharp step down doesn't rub too much, and it's not sort of particularly badly balanced, particularly if you hold it back slightly further on the section. The grip in the middle of this section is around 10 millimeters, so it's a fairly comfortable size. The pen weighs 15 grams, 10 in the body and 5 in the cap. So you are putting a third of the pen's body weight on the back, but it is a very light third because the entire pen only weighs 15 grams. Time for a little writing sample now with the Jinhao 519 with a steel fine nib, and the ink in this is classic Waterman Serenity Blue. Now, one thing I will say is that this pen writes pretty consistently every time you uncap it. I've had this pen inked, for a number of weeks, and when I go back to it, it is still writes first time. So that's great. So obviously in this capping mechanism and in the the seal on the cap, it's doing a good job of keeping the nib wet. Not my best handwriting, but you get the idea. It's got a fairly decent sort of fine line. It's not super dry. It feels good. A quick writing. It keeps up. It just is perhaps a little bit dry on some of the faster writing. Reverse is possible, a bit scratchy, but more than doable. It is a stiff nib. You are not going to get line variation out of this almost at all, even applying pressure. It's just a stiff nib. Not super wet, not super dry, but consistent, and kind of, fills a gap, in my opinion, of those pens that, you use for particular inks, or if you want to carry a pen in your bag, you don't want it to get a nice pen to get damaged. At $5, if it gets damaged or if you lose it, it's not a huge loss in terms of the financial price point. So what are the pros and cons of the Jinhao 519? Well, the only con I have is that it is made of a fairly lightweight, sort of cheap plastic. My concerns with that are things like cracking or, damage if you drop it and things like that. But apart from that, it works fine and it caps fine and the threads are okay and the clip is functional. The clip is a design element on this pen and it may not be for everyone, but it does the job. Now, the pros though, it comes in a nice range of colors, greens, blues, and this is the coffee brown. As I said, it's more like a caramel brown to my eye, but I wouldn't drink coffee that looks like that, but that's okay. Other things I love are the fact that it is a Lamy compatible or Lamy style nib, and it is a tried and true method, and it works. The other thing that goes along with this is these little grooves on the grip section. They actually stop the pen from being slippery. Like it's a slightly tapered section and it's made of plastic. They just give you a little place just to get enough grip so that it doesn't slide around in your hand. The other thing I loved is that it wrote. As soon as I inked it, I didn't flush it, I didn't do anything, I just thought, I'm going to ink it and see what happens, and it wrote. And it's written the same every time I've pulled it out. That's consistency. That's a $5 pen doing that. What pens that are up to, 50 to 100 times this price won't do. So no need to flush it, no need to actually do anything, just start writing. I really appreciate that. So yeah. For $5, you're not getting a fancy pen. You're not getting a pen maybe that you'll hand down to your grandchildren, but you are getting a pen that will write, that is fairly consistent, that does the job. And that's one of the things I love about Jinhao. So I hope you found this video about the Jinhao 519 to be interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications button, all those lovely things. If you've got something you'd like me to look at, let me know. If there's a way you'd like to support the channel, get in touch. I would love to hear from you. It's your support that makes these videos possible. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.